How was it? Good? We bring energy. Wherever Thach go, we bring energy.
So everybody, thank you again for joining us on another episode of Co-Founders. This is Alex Mont-Ros, and we have an amazing guest today, Thach Nguyen. Thach, thanks for joining us. Today, guys, we're going to do something a little bit different. We usually have Lisa and I talking to couples. Thach today is going to kind of represent the family, represent the business, and kind of talk through the successes, challenges, and how he's overcome a lot of things just to get to where he's at, as well as how Camie's been a big part of that success. And that's really what I want to hear about. Like how does she integrate into the business, and how does it better you, right? And the family overall, right? Because I know she's a big part of what you do, and without her, probably you would probably say the same thing, like wouldn't be where you're at today.
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, it's interesting because out of all the podcasts I've done, out of all the interview, this is the first time I ever done an interview talking about how my wife and I do business together.
Interesting. Cool.
Right? Because all the other interview is, just like, how am I making money? What am I doing in real estate? What am I buying? How am I flipping? How am I doing all that? Mindset and everything. But this is interesting because it's really, how did you and your wife work together from the beginning and then today? How do you guys actually play? Because most people say never work with your spouse or your own family. Right.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And so, this is a different twist, which is great. I love it. And my wife, she has a lot of knowledge, but she don't like to be on camera. If you ever follow me on Instagram, she never want the camera to be pointed at her.
If you ever pointed at her, what does she do? Does she try to slap?
She's telling me to delete it.
delete
Delete that. Right? So every time you see me show food and the kids only movie, you mean the kids and food. That's it.
You just see her quick. She's like, it's just
in and out.
Yeah, in and out. I love it, man.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about let's set the stage. So, what do you do? Give the audience kind of a quick background for those that don't know you, but you're well known in the industry here within the real estate industry locally. But give us a quick background.
A quick background is I was born in Vietnam in 1970. In 1975, when I was 5 years old, my dad worked for the U.S. military, and his boss says, "Hey, the Vietnamese communists is invading South Vietnam. The U.S. troop, we're gonna pull out of Vietnam. We're leaving." And so you should leave with us. Otherwise, you Vietnamese and the communists coming in, you're going to get killed. And so my dad called home to my mom, hey, the U.S. is pulling out and they're giving us a chance to leave Vietnam. Otherwise, we're going to be living here with the communists. It ain't going to be a good life. I won't even be living with you guys. So my mom packed everything in one suitcase. We had like $100 and there was 8 of us. My mom and dad, my 4 brothers and sister. And we left on the last plane out of Vietnam, right? On the military plane with them. And we, on our way out, we were trying to find out my grandma, my aunt, and my cousin. They're trying to take him with us, right? But nobody was home, dude. Dang. And that's destiny, you see? We landed in San Diego, Camp Pennington, and that's where they used us to shelter for all the refugees that came out of Vietnam. And then after that, Governor Evan migrated about 500 family up to Seattle. And we ended up staying in the shelter in Camp Murray in Tacoma for a few months. When we was all living there, there was a volunteer guy named Charles Zettler that decided he wanted to sponsor a family to live with him and his mom. So he picked our family. And luckily for us, otherwise you'd be staying in the shelter until somebody sponsors you. Sure. So we lived with him in Sumner, Washington, which is about an hour from here. For 2 years, he used to drive my dad, his mom, she was in her 70s. She used to drive my dad to work every day in Rainier Valley, which is like an hour drive. Wow. She'd drive him to work, drop him off, and she'd drive back home. And at 5 o'clock, she'd drive into Seattle, pick him up, and drive back home, bro, every day for like 7 months.
That's commitment, man.
Right? And it's contribution. To the highest level. They don't even know us.
I know. Yeah.
And after 2 years we lived there, my dad had enough money, and we moved up to Rainier Valley. So I lived in Rainier Valley from 77 on. And we had a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Basically a shack, but it was a palace compared to the shelter, right? And then I went to school. I graduated from Franklin High School in '88. And I didn't do well in my last year of school because I started hanging out with the wrong crowd. And this is why environment's such a big play in life. I graduated with a 2.8 GPA. Wasn't super smart, you know what I mean? I was smart. I just didn't do the work. I followed my brother's footsteps to go fix aviation airplane after I graduated in '89. And after 3 years of doing it, I got my degree in fixing airplanes, just like my 2 older brother, and I hated it. It was my passion. And that's one of the things I always tell people, you got to follow your passion. And I graduated and I didn't want to do aviation airplane, and I got into real estate. One of my friends says, you should get into real estate because I think you do well at real estate, you know. And so I went and got my license, and 91 I got my license.
Okay. And
then I didn't have no coaching. I didn't have no mentor for the first 3 years. And I only did like 2 deals a year, every year for 3 years.
Yeah.
In 1994, I met a mentor, and he taught me how to go out there and sell real estate the right way, the smart way.
Yeah.
And I dedicated myself to mastering scripts and dialogues and, you know what I mean, and really go out there and find sellers. And for 10 years, I door knocked 100 doors a day, 5 days a week, 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I knocked on about 11,000 doors a year. And then
you don't even hear about that anymore, man.
You don't nobody doing it. Right? Nobody want to work like that.
Yeah.
And today, you know, you see me, if you follow me on Instagram, you see me and my man Loren, we out there knocking on doors still every day.
I know. Yeah.
And so I started doing 20 deal, 30 deal, 40 deal. And by the time I was like in 1996, 97, 97, 98, 99, I was already making $1 million a year selling real estate, knocking on 100 doors a day.
Wow.
And then I met some mentor that taught me how to invest. And I started investing in real estate. And I started building houses. And today, I still sell real estate.
Okay.
I buy houses and I fix them up and I keep them as rental.
Okay.
I build townhouses and I keep them as rental. I sell some of those, and I build an apartment building and I keep them all as rental.
Okay.
And my wife and I played, you know, we do this together. So would lead us to, you know what I mean? Where my wife, what does she do?
Yeah.
Right. She's a big component of this.
Did you meet, is Camie, did you meet her? When did you meet Camie?
So it's interesting. So I graduated in 88 and Camie graduated in 89, 91, I think 91, 3 years, right? I had a whole bunch of friends that went to school with her and her classmate, and they were all playing tennis, and I was a good tennis player.
Okay.
And so I graduated. My friend, who was a coach at Cleveland High School, was coaching that year. And he said, hey, man, would you come and actually help coach with me? So I went over there. I helped coach with him, coaching Camie and all her classmates with the all seniors that year. And so that's how I met her. I met her at the tennis court.
Wow.
I taught her a couple forehand, backhand. I was in, baby.
That was it.
I was in.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Did she, what was she, like, how did she eventually get did she also have a passion for real estate, or was this something that you kind of brought into the fold and then she kind of joined it?
So me and Camie, we both didn't know anything about real estate. Okay. My mom and dad didn't own much real estate, right? Camie's mom and them didn't own much real estate. And so when we met, we were dating and everything, and we've been doing it for a while. And we both work at Safeway, you know, for many years. And when I got into real estate in 1991, I went and got my license, and I started in 91. And, you know, I wasn't doing much in 91, 92, 93. So when I met my mentor, he started teaching me how to go out and door knock, right? And that's when I needed an assistant. Okay. So I hired an assistant at the time, but they just didn't understand how Thach is wired, right? Okay. And I move fast, I talk fast, right? I love to go hunt for the deals. And I need someone to basically take care of home base. And they worked with me for a year, didn't work. During that time, Camie was already at UW. She was going in school to do marketing. Okay. And so when she graduated, she didn't really have a job. And then I wasn't happy. And she was, you know, we lived together. She lived with my mom and dad with me. Okay. And we was always talking about, you know, my sister can do this. And she was like, and she'd come in, she'd help. And eventually she transitioned, and she would basically just took over the assistant job. Eventually that person left. Okay. And so Camie basically came in and helped me so I can spend more time knocking on the street. And that's how it all started for me and Camie.
So from day one, I mean, it seems like, well, shortly after you got into the business, I mean, you were already forming, you know, pretty much a co-founder type of a partnership with Camie, and to help you both succeed.
That's right.
That's awesome, man.
And the thing was, the first year or two working together, it was not a good scene.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Like what?
See, the thing is that I think guys, especially if they started the business, they got this ego like, shit, you know who I am? I'm the goddamn boss around this goddamn place. If you're going to work with me, you do what I say, right? Otherwise, I'll fire your ass too. Go find me another assistant, right? That's the ego part of it, right? And they don't even take in consideration everybody is wired different, right? I realize it now. I look back. Camie is wired to basically My job, I'm wired to go out there and go fishing and bring the fish in.
Mm-hmm.
Camie is wired, when I give her the fish, she says, get the hell out of the kitchen. Let me prep it and let me get it ready.
Yeah.
So get the hell out. Yeah. I'm good at that shit, right?
Yeah.
But for many years, I had to tell her how to do stuff in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And so funny is, I don't even know how to do it in the kitchen that well.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that was the 2-year butting head. And then luckily for us, we had a good manager, Albie Muscatero, at the John Scott office, and every time she had questions, she'd go to Albie, and Albie had the patient. He's wired that way too, right? The manager, and he'd teach Camie all the right thing to do, the format, and she would handle it.
Yeah.
And then after 2 years, I realized that I'm good at going fishing. She's good at prepping the fish.
Yeah. It took 2 years to have that realization. What at the beginning? So along that line, what has been some new challenges that have been uncovered over the years as you've migrated into now, development and everything else you're doing in the investment world? What are the challenges that you're facing now, maybe that have been different than what you faced with Camie at the beginning? So
back then, me and Camie, we were managing our own business, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had listing and sale, and she handled all the transaction coordinating, right? And then she negotiated the contract. Right. But eventually, before I used to negotiate on the contract, she handled the paperwork. Then eventually, I would spend more time on the street, and eventually she learned how to negotiate the contract too.
Got it.
And she went and got her license. Mm-hmm. And so today, like if there's an offer comes in on listing, Camie with the person that everybody talked to. She negotiate with the owner. Mm-hmm. She work through all the form, the paperwork, the counter, send it to escrow. She handled all that. She negotiate. I don't even touch it anymore after that, right? And that's been something we literally master. And we had really no employee. It was me, Camie, and an assistant back then. And as we grew the deal, we were doing 150 deals a month back in a year, back in the days. Mm-hmm. And we were gonna have one buyer agent. That was our whole team.
Yeah.
And so that was easy. We could have done a lot of that. But now, as I am building houses, flipping houses, we got to work with subcontractors. We got to work with general contractor.
More project management.
More project manager. So Camie today, why she play a big role, she still oversee any negotiating deal in the listing deal business, but she also oversee the general contractor. Right? And so all the general contractor and the builder report to Camie. She don't report to me. They report to Camie.
Got it.
So you see how good my life is?
Yeah.
Because I'm a hunter, right? So she take on a lot of the burden.
Yeah.
And so when general contractor are dropping the ball and everything, she's the one who actually ride them.
Wow. Yeah.
See? So you see how good my life is.
Yeah.
Now I look back and I'm grateful to have her because she plays a big component on this whole real estate game.
Yeah.
And that's probably the hardest thing today is because it's hard to find a good general contractor or builder that actually have integrity, on time, on budget. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even as well you work with them, it's just hard. And that's probably the hardest thing today for Camie to deal with is a lot of that. And that's why we continue to keep raising our standard on what do we do? Right? How many deals do we want to do? How many flips do we want to do? What standard of flip do we want to do? You know what I mean? How much margin we want to make on every flip? Because it's just a lot of work. Yeah. And we ain't here to practice no more, and we're not here to make small margin anymore. Yeah. If you're gonna do it right, or don't do it at all. That's her philosophy now.
So that's how many years did it take for you and Camie to come to that realization about standards? Man.
Well, Camie and I started real estate together basically 1994, 95. And she been with me since day one. And then we started building houses together day one, and the whole thing. And so it's really been from 1995 till now, it's been an awakening. All these years of a new benchmark of standard. You know what I mean? Like, you know what? For example, back then when I was working with sellers, certain seller, when I was new, they want you to do this, 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 and this. And we talked about this the other day. And when you're new, you take those.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And as you grow your business, you get more business, and you start to have different standards on what's a perfect client look like. Well, if they want this, this, and this, you just have to get to the point where you're going to lose a client, but you got confidence that if you drop that client, you have more mental space, so you can get better client and even more client that's better, right? And so it worked the same way in the world flipping, right? When I just started flipping, if I made 30 grand on a flip, I'm happy. Well, as all the headache comes along with 30, 40,000, it got to the point where Camie and I were raised like, nope, it got to be 50,000. Well, all the headache keep rising, this whole business, then it's 70,000 margin. Now we're at a point where if we don't make at least 100, 150,000 on the flip in 90 days, we don't even want to mess with it.
Yeah.
That's the standard. So Camie is one of those kind of person that really bring in the mindset. You know, you hear me talk about mindset, but Camie, she's a silent mindset person. She brings in the conversation in bed. She's like, here's my new standard from now on, God damn it. We don't need to do a lot of business, and we don't need to do a lot of deal. Yeah. We just need to do a bunch of good deal only.
The right deals. Yeah.
If it ain't the right deal, ain't the good deal, I'm not in the business to practice anymore.
Yeah.
And if you bring me a deal, it don't meet my criteria, I ain't signing no contract. Yeah. That's today how powerful Camie is.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And I've seen it. I think I've been, I've known you now for a few years, and I've seen the power of, I would say, the machine moving forward.
Yeah.
But there's always that component behind the scenes of like who's helping kind of pull all the levers.
Yes.
I don't want to say puppet master, but
serious.
She's over
it
there.
Is.
And Thach is out there doing his thing, but without that support,
she's the true puppet master.
Yeah.
That's why I ain't got no hesitation, bro.
That's
telling
awesome,
you,
man.
Camie probably control the puppet.
Yeah.
Probably 80% of everything we do.
Yeah. It's
8%.
powerful. It's powerful.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you how much power there is. One, and you said it. We said it earlier on the live.
Yeah.
About delegation.
Yes.
And that was, I think, you went into the real estate business delegating out the gate.
That's right.
Thankfully, it became your wife.
That's right.
Right? You know, but then how much more did that grow
into
something now that it's beautiful. It's building wealth for your business, and your kids are now becoming entrepreneurs, and they're going to learn from from a good foundation.
That's right.
And I think a lot of what we've, when we've interviewed other co-founders, it takes time to get to that clarity.
That's right.
And you said, 95 till now, right? And the one thing, though, I think is powerful to also be reminded of, everybody has a journey. Mm-hmm. And in that journey, there has to be patience. Everybody wants the quick dollar now. Everybody wants it to work now. Yeah. And it doesn't work that way.
No.
You have to go through the journey.
You got to go through the journey to find to awaken in your mind.
Yeah. And eventually you get there. Hopefully people,
that's right.
Hopefully they get there. Right? Not everybody
Some of them don't ever wake up.
They don't ever wake up. They don't ever get there.
Yeah.
So this has been awesome, man. I know, I know you're busy. I don't want to take up too much time, but for the audience's sake, what is one optimizing tip that you can provide the audience with regards to, one, the way you've worked together with Camie, or how you're investing and how you guys see the business differently than maybe somebody else? If you wouldn't mind sharing.
I would say the most important thing today, knowing what I know today, especially if you work together with a spouse, you got to think 10-year, 20-year out. I want to say to a lot of people out there, stop writing goal, or stop going after goals and things, and start going after creating a lifestyle. So when you think 10-year, 20-year out, you got to ask yourself, how does your relationship life look like with your wife and your kids? How does your business look like? How does your finance look like? How does your passive income look like? How does your fitness look like? How does your spiritual life look like, right? How does your community contribution life look like? How's your social life look? How's your mental life look like? You got to think 20-year out, and you got to start drawing the picture from out there, and you got to draw it out so you can be super clear. And then at the end of the day, you got to be emotionally connected to that 10, 20-year out. Because the problem everybody doing, they actually are doing what they're doing right now, and they just do more of that, thinking they're going to get ahead. The problem is you just keep doing what you're doing, and then 20 years later, you're still in the same spot. You never went that far. So you got to think from far out and then work backward to the present. And when you get to the present, then you can really delegate. All right, honey, your strength is this. Alex, your strength is that. Mm-hmm. Loren, your strength is this. And let's everybody run their department. Mm-hmm. And then let's kick ass and let's work towards this inspiring 20-year goal.
Yeah.
And to me, that is the thing I realized nobody really do. They all hear about it. They all read about it. Mm-hmm. But there ain't too many people that really sit down and really think, 20 years from now, if life is perfect, how does all these equity of life look like? And then work back to the present. And then for Camie, right, when she see that, she's clear. She know that her role is to play this role. And then my role is to play this role. I got property manager to play this role. Mm-hmm. My friend Chris, he built houses. He played this role on the team. Mm-hmm. And everybody play their role. And we're all working toward the same end game which is freedom, option, and choice, and the lifestyle we want to create 20 years from now. So start with the end in mind and work towards the present. That's the key I want to give you guys.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Thach. That's actually a lot of wisdom. A lot of wisdom there.
We dropping the mic today. Bam, 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 bam.
A lot of wisdom in there, and I'm actually, even as you were saying that, I was thinking, man, I got to also reset how I look at goals and start looking towards significance.
That's it.
And then look in that 10, 15, 20-year window. And to your point, work backwards and reverse engineer that.
Stop going after goals and things and go after lifestyle.
I love it, man.
Okay? It's a whole different mindset.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Thach, for joining. I know you're busy.
My pleasure, brother.
You're gonna be on Bigger Pockets.
Bigger
That's
Pockets,
awesome,
baby.
Man. I love it.
Okay.
So I'll be definitely listening to that, and
Facebook Live today.
Yeah, thank you for joining, man. And with that said, guys, we are signing out. Thank you for joining another episode of Co-Founders, and we will see you all later. Have a great day, guys.
Awesome. Kabam.
Yeah.